So what is up, guys? Suna the Savage back, and today we are here with another video. Today it is going to be about the dumbest things about my elementary school. Now, I already made a video about the dumbest things of my middle school, links in the description below, but now I'm going to be doing the elementary school. Now, this video was a lot harder to make. Well, at least making the script was, because it was a lot harder to think of the things I hated about my elementary school than it was for my middle school, because there was a lot more things I could pick into. Now, I loved my elementary school. It was the best school I went to. I went there for 8 years, and yeah, basically, that's why I loved it. I went there for so long. It was my favorite school. Now, I will probably make a video like the best things about my elementary school, and I will throw in a few good points in this video. Now, a lot like my middle school video, I will not be going over the teachers that were completely stupid, like dumb teachers, like the horrible teachers. But I mean, I did in my last video, but that was just connecting her to a point that I made that was dumb about my middle school. Anyways, let's get started. Now, before I get to the points, here's a little bit of a layout of the school. So my school had 3 floors. My elementary school. It had the basement, which had both the large and the small gym. The small gym was horrible. It had the first floor, which had the office and the library, and it also had the second floor, which had the rooftop garden and just a bunch of classrooms, so nothing too complex. There wasn't a pool, so that really sucked. No, not really. But anyways, let's start with the points. Now, to start it off, I had to take choir. It was required when you were in 3rd grade, you were required to take choir. That's an incredible statement by me. That is no, I don't even know, but yes, you had to take choir in 3rd grade. And in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, it was optional to take choir. You would just come in during your lunch and just rehearse. Now, when I got to 6th grade, apparently 1st and 2nd graders were also required to take it. And kindergartners maybe, I'm not sure, but I talked with a friend about this earlier, saying like, I'm thinking about making a video about this. I brought up the fact that I think kindergartners were required to do it, but he said like, I think they'd just be way too hard to manage, and to be fair, I think that's a pretty fair statement. So I'm not sure, but I'll just say 1st and 2nd graders were required to take it. So once again, just like middle school, assemblies were fucking stupid. They were so boring. They always had just, the assemblies sucked. We had the character assemblies again, which represented character traits. It was just a waste of time. We had a lot of assemblies. We did have the Remembrance Day assembly, which is always a good one. And we also had the Christmas assembly. Now, how the Christmas assembly worked is that we would go over the character traits. We also had a competition, and then to finish it off, we would sing Christmas carols. Now, the whole Christmas caroling part I wish was optional because I hated it for some reason. And we also had a dance assembly, which, to get into the dance assembly, in your separate gym class, you had to come up with a dance, you had to find a song, and create an original dance. And if you got enough votes, if you got, like, the top 2 dances would make it into the dance assembly. Now, I did have one gym teacher who was incredibly sexist and chose the girl groups because apparently they were better, except mine was completely better. Anyways, and also we had spirit assemblies, which were my favorite, but I'll save that for another video. So, back to the whole point of music. This is more of a positive for me, but once again, we had to take music. It wasn't the same as choir. Now, in 2nd grade, we were the luckiest class. I was in the luckiest class because we were the only class to have music. And my music teacher, she was incredible. And then 3rd through 6th grade, everyone took music. And for another part, I wanted to make this into a Suitor Stories video, but the story was just way too short. But here's the thing that actually happened during 2nd grade. So one day, we were actually a very loud class. So one day, what ended up happening was my teacher just got so fed up with us. She just says, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done." And she just goes to her computer and just starts answering emails. And at that moment, I'm just thinking, what do we do? I didn't know what to do. So what all the girls ended up doing was they ended up writing her story cards, like, sorry that we were loud. I don't remember what they wrote. I mean, I didn't know what they wrote. And me and all the guys, we just played Battleship and we played some board games because Battleship was relevant and we had a lot of board games there. So yeah, fun little other stories. So we also had another thing. It was called Pizza Lunch, which was amazing. You got once a month. You would go to the big gym, and they would just have pizza that they ordered. At first, it was from 241 Pizza, and then it was from Panago. So it was very good pizza, and The only negative that I found is that it used to be on Fridays, but they switched it to Mondays. That's just a minor nitpick. I mean, I didn't really like the change to Mondays. It just felt unnatural. Damn. Alright, and also when I was in 1st and 2nd grade, the periods were longer. We had less periods, but they lasted a long amount of time. So we had 6 periods, and so we had 6 periods in 1st and 2nd grade, and in 3 through 6, we had 8 periods. Now, the 8 periods, they were more periods, but they were shorter, but 1st and 2nd grade, they were less periods, but they were a lot longer, so not much I can go off there since I don't remember it. But another thing I will touch upon was the washrooms at the school. They were so bad. Now, there was only one big washroom that we had, and that was the basement washroom, where it actually had about 10 urinals and about 7 stalls. This is the best of my ability, since I have not been to that school for a while, but I vividly remember this. So, we just had the basement washroom was spacious. Now, the 2nd floor washroom, it was okay. It had a urinal and a toilet. I think maybe we could have made it, I wish it was a lot more like the basement, but the worst one was the 1st floor washroom. First off, all that it was just a toilet and a sink. No locks. If you walk in there, someone's definitely going to walk on you. And the worst thing was, it just smelled so bad. Like, if you walk in there, it just smelled like pee all the time. Fortunately for me, I only had to go to that washroom for 1 year. And then when I moved to 2nd grade, I just used the 2nd floor and basement washrooms. Okay, so back to it. We had 2 gyms. So we had the big gym, which is where all the physical activity went on, and we had the small gym, which was just really small. I mean, the main thing that was in there was the cafeteria. We had tables that we would pull out, and we would just lay them down there. So nothing special about that. And also how we celebrated Halloween, we always had a Halloween parade, which on the 31st, everyone would come in a costume, and we would just parade around the school. Now, if it was raining, we had to do the parade inside. All the parents would come into the small gym, no, to the big gym. And then if it was outside, then you just go outside and do a big walk around. Like when we had to do laps at the school, that was basically it. We basically just did a lap. It was just one walk around. All the parents were there. Now, the only thing I have against that was if it was outside, it was usually pretty cold. Usually here where I live, it can get to about 6 degrees Celsius. So it's not horrible, but for the costumes that we were wearing, it wasn't exactly appropriate wear, since it was not that it wouldn't sustain you that much. And I want to come to another thing, and we had an expansion. So in 6th grade, we had about 100-something students in 3 classes. So we had about 30, I think it was 34 per class, and then one day they told us we have too many students in each class. So what ended up happening was they made an expansion. They had another 6th grade teacher come in, so we had 4 teachers. So we had 4 classes, so 8 students from each class would be leaving and going to the expanded class. So that was always a hard time. Now, I was fortunate enough not to end up in the expansion, but not to go over to the other classroom, but I had a lot of friends that, unfortunately for them, they had to go to that classroom. So they were very good friends, and what I've learned from those friends is that the teacher that they had was horrible. All that she did was teach math. She wasn't really good at it, and that was basically it. They only did math, and they didn't really and she was horrible at teaching math. And also, Glenview, in Glenview, we ended up getting shots. In John Wanless, we ended up getting lice checks, where they would just, you'd have to you go into the library. There was a separate room in the library, and they'd have just a bunch of, I think it was moms, they would just always have a big long toothpick, and they just search through your hair. It was one of my favorites, since it was just so relaxing. It was like getting a massage on your head. It was just so nice. But the only thing I have against that is they only did that once every 2 months. I wish they did it once a month, or at least make it 2 times a month. And also I want to get back to kind of the outside part. So we had a field, and we actually had a playground. We had the small playground and the big playground. Now, as the years got by, both of those just kept getting worse. The field, we always had to constantly grow grass, and it was, most of the time it would be blocked off. But then, as I was finishing 6th grade, we actually expanded it we raised enough money, and we ended up getting a new turf field. But what sucked most about it was everything just went. I loved the baseball diamond. It was a silver diamond. It actually had the layout, it had a cage, and then they just completely changed it. They took out everything, and I mean, I wouldn't be complaining about this if I wasn't there for when they started, but I was there for maybe, I'd say about the last 3 months of the year of my final year is when they started the process. So it was not fun. And also the playground always just started to things just started getting removed. Like, there was a couple slides, if there's a crack in a slide, boom, gone. They would block it off like a piece of wood. Like, you couldn't go down that slide. It's very hard to kind of repair those slides, and we also had like a couple things you'd climb up, and they took that down. I think kids were getting hurt too much, and yeah, they just basically they took away all the fun things on the playground. They didn't like try to improve it at all. They blocked it off, making our playground a lot more limited. And now we come to the grand finale, lunch, just like my Glenview video, but except this time lunch was actually good. We were given an hour 10 minutes and to have for a full lunch period, and but I will nitpick one part. So what you do when you go into lunch. So whenever you go into lunch, for my elementary school, it was first, second, and third graders had lunch at the same time. Then they would go outside and play, and then the fourth, fifth, and sixth graders would go in at the same time. So to be honest, that was a lot better than having just a bunch of splurge of classes, and then just you could sit with anyone you wanted. That was great, but to sign in, what you would have to do every time you come in, you would have to go to the lunch ladies. They would have like a, kind of like, they have like a bucket of pencil crayons, pencil crayons. So you would have to take a pencil crayon, go to your class sheet, and like color in the circle of the date, or like the square. You'd have to like mark off to show that, okay, I was here for this lunch date. I found that really stupid. Like, I didn't like that. How we just had to mark that every day. I mean, it was a lot easier to sneak out for lunch, because if I was going to leave for lunch one day, I didn't have to come up with a note. Sometimes I snuck out. I would just go to the lunchroom. I'd go check. I would just check off the day that I wouldn't be there, so they would assume I'm there when I really wasn't. But yeah, lunch there was a lot better than it was at Glenview, because Glenview's lunch was stupid. But that is my video for today. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see me make a dumbest things about my high school, that'll be uploaded eventually. Click the link in the description below to see my dumbest things about middle school. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what else you want to see, and make sure to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat @StupidSavage. Hey, thank you all for watching, and have a great day. Peace out.